Hey guys, this is Evan from EzOrigami, and today I'll be teaching you how to fold an Origami Niji Star designed by Usman Rosyidhi. This model requires 8 square sheets of paper. Each unit is folded from 1 square, and I recommend using 3-inch squares to fold the units. Using 3-inch squares will result in a star about 5.5 inches wide. And I'm going to be using larger paper with color on one side and white on the other just to make it a bit easier to follow along. And once you've prepared your paper, then we're going to start with our first square with the white side up. And then we're going to fold in half diagonally. So take this bottom right corner and fold it up to the top left corner. Align the corners and the edges. Then make your crease. Then we're going to rotate the paper so that the long edge is held vertically on the left. And now we're going to fold over this top edge and align it with the left vertical edge here. So we just want to lift up a single layer of paper and we want to pull it over to the left. Then we want to start at the top of the model and work our way down until the white edge is completely aligned with that colored folded edge. And you're essentially creating half of a kite base. So once both edges are completely aligned, then you can make your crease. And from here we're going to fold over this top edge and align it with the white folded edge that we just created. So we're going to start by lifting up a single layer of paper, and then we want to pull it over to the left. And again we want to start at the top of the model and work our way down until the colored edge is completely aligned with the white folded edge. So once both edges are completely aligned, then you can make your crease. And then you can unfold. Then we're going to turn the paper over from top to bottom. And we're going to make a valley fold along the crease that we just unfolded. So we're going to lift up the right side of the paper, and we want to fold it over to the left along that existing crease. Just like this. And now we're going to fold up this bottom corner and align it with the top corner. So we're essentially folding the entire model in half. So just pull up the bottom half of the model. And once the top and bottom corners are aligned, then you can make your crease. And once you have this, then we're going to turn the model over. And now we're going to do a squash fold. So we simply want to lift up this top white layer of paper, and I think it's easiest to push your finger inside to slightly separate the layers. Then we basically want to pull the white layer of paper down as far as it goes. And you'll see that the paper kind of wants to squash into place. So what we want to do is align this white edge with this colored vertical edge here on the right. So we just want to push those white layers over to the right like this, and we want to align both of those edges. I like to start at the top and work my way down until both edges are completely aligned. Once everything is aligned, then you can make your crease, and you'll actually be creating 2 new creases here. And then we can turn the paper over. And now we're going to fold over this left edge and align it with this horizontal crease on the bottom. So what we want to do is lift up this top white flap, and we want to pull it over to the right. You'll see it actually reaches a point where it doesn't want to go any further, and that's where we want to start our crease. So we're essentially going to align this colored edge with this horizontal crease on the bottom. So I like to start at the left and work my way over to the right until the edge is completely aligned with that crease. And once everything is aligned, then you can make your crease. And then you can unfold. And now we're going to squash fold along existing creases. So what we want to do is separate the 2 white layers of paper in the center of the model. And I recommend pushing your finger all the way inside just to make sure that the layers are completely separated. Then while keeping your finger inside, you want to push this white group of layers over to the right like this. So you just want to push it over to the right, and you'll see that the paper will start to flatten out by itself. This top crease should already be in the correct orientation, so you can simply flatten that one out. And you may need to reverse the direction of this bottom crease, but you just want to make sure that you're not creating any new creases here. So just flatten that one out. And once you've squash folded those layers, then this is one completed unit. Now you must fold 7 more. Once you've folded all 8 units, you're going to need 2 to start the assembly. Then look at one, and you'll notice that it has a white flap like this on the bottom, and it also has a pocket inside of this squash folded flap here on top. It's a little bit easier to see that from the side, but basically another unit's flap is going to go inside here. So once again, we're going to take our second unit, and what we want to do is insert this white flap on the second unit, inside of the squash folded pocket here on the first unit. So we're going to do that by lifting up both units, and we want to slightly rotate the second unit like this. Then we carefully want to bring both units together, again while inserting the white flap from the second unit inside of the squash folded pocket on the first unit. So you just want to slide both units together like this as far as they go, and you want to push them together until they don't want to go any further. The white flap from the second unit should reach this corner here inside of the model, so you just want to make sure that both units are completely aligned. And at this point, you can see that this colored flap here on the first unit extends past this white folded edge here on the second unit. So what we want to do is simply mount and fold that colored flap behind. So we're just going to lift up both units, and we want to tuck that colored flap behind by simply mountain folding it along that folded edge. Just like this. And then you can untuck that flap from underneath, but you do want to keep that corner folded in. And then we want to tuck this flap inside of the white pocket on the second unit. So we're carefully going to tuck that flap inside, just like this. And then you can turn the model over. And from here you can see that this flap on the first unit extends past this folded edge here on the second unit. So basically what we want to do is mountain fold that extra flap behind. I find it easiest to slightly open up this pocket here on the second unit, and you basically just want to mountain fold this extra flap of paper inside. So you're just going to mountain fold it back like this along that folded edge, and you can just tuck it inside as far as it goes. And that's really going to lock both units together. So once you've done that, then you can turn the model back over, and now you've connected the first two units. And now we're going to add a third unit the same way. So we're going to start by slightly rotating the two units that we already connected. And from here what we want to do is insert this white flap from the third unit inside of the squash folded pocket here on the second unit. So we're going to do that by lifting up all three units, and then we want to slightly rotate the third unit. Then we're carefully going to bring the second and third units together, just like this, while inserting the third unit's white flap inside of the second unit's squash folded pocket. So you just want to push the two units together as far as they go, just like this, and you'll see it reaches a point where the flap doesn't want to go any further. I also think it's helpful to make sure that these edges are parallel on both units, just to make sure that they're completely aligned. Once everything is aligned, you'll notice this colored flap on the second unit that extends past this white folded edge here on the third unit. And we simply want to tuck that colored flap behind, just like we did before. So we carefully want to lift up all three units and tuck that colored flap behind. You can just mountain fold it right along that folded edge. Then you can pull that flap out from underneath, but you want to keep the corner folded in. And from here we want to tuck that colored flap inside of this white pocket underneath. So you carefully want to tuck that layer inside, just like this. And then you can turn the model over. Again, you can see that this flap here on the second unit extends past this folded edge on the third unit. So we just want to tuck this excess flap of paper underneath. I think it's easiest to slightly open up this pocket ahead of time, but you just want to fold this excess paper inside by mountain folding along that folded edge. So you just want to tuck it inside as far as it goes, just like this. Then you can flatten everything out, and you can turn the model back over. And then we're going to add a fourth unit the same way. So we're going to start by slightly rotating the three units that we already connected. And from here we want to insert the fourth unit's flap inside of this squash folded pocket on the third unit. So we're going to do that by lifting up all four units. Then we want to slightly rotate the fourth unit. And we carefully want to bring the third and fourth units together just like we did before. Again, inserting the fourth unit's white flap inside of the third unit's squash folded pocket. So you want to slide the units together as far as they go. You'll see it reaches a point where that flap doesn't want to go any further. And you should also check that these edges are parallel to make sure that both units are aligned. And once they're aligned, you'll notice this colored flap on the third unit that extends past this white folded edge here on the fourth unit. And we just want to mountain fold that colored flap behind. So we're just going to fold that colored flap behind like this. Again, just mountain fold it along that folded edge. Then we can pull that layer out from underneath, but we want to keep the corner folded in. Then we want to take that same flap and we want to insert it inside of the white pocket underneath. So we're carefully going to tuck that flap inside, just like this. And then we're going to turn the model over. And you'll notice this flap from the third unit that extends past this folded edge here on the fourth unit. And again, we're going to mountain fold that flap underneath. So I like to slightly open up that pocket ahead of time, but then you just want to mountain fold that excess paper behind, just like we did before. This is going to lock the third and fourth units together. Then you can just flatten everything out. And you can turn the model back over. And now you've connected the first four units. And now we're going to add the remaining four units the same way. And as you continue adding units, you'll start to see that they'll overlap with the first one. And you just want to continue adding the new units on top of the old units because it'll make it easier to lock the units together at the end. Once you've added the 8th unit, then the last thing we need to do is connect the first and last units together. So to do that, we'll need to pull out the first unit's flap from underneath. And you can do this by rearranging the layers so that the first unit's flap can go inside of the squash folded pocket on the last unit. So we're just going to pull the first unit's flap out on top, just like this. And then we want to tuck it inside of the squash folded pocket, just like we did on the other units. This step is a little bit tricky, but you just want to slide it inside of the squash folded pocket as far as it goes. And don't worry if some of your flaps came out on the front, you can always just tuck those right back in. And that was pretty much the hardest part, so now we're just going to connect the first and last units together just like we've been doing. Once you've done that, then you can turn the paper over, and this is the completed model. I hope you've enjoyed this video tutorial on how to fold an Origami Niji Star designed by Usman Rosyidhi. Feel free to upload photos of your completed star to the YouTube gallery on my website to be featured here in my next video, or simply upload your photos to Instagram with the hashtag EzOrigami to be featured here as well. Also, be sure to check out Usman's Instagram for more of his impressive work. I'll post a link in the video description below. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and leave a comment below. And of course, subscribe to my channel and hit the notifications bell for more videos like this. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.